Hey guys, I got the rabbit building finished. I've been working on it for about 2 or 3 months now. And I know it could have been done a lot sooner, but I'm kind of crippled up. So it takes me a long time to do anything. So, but this rabbit building, little backstory, this rabbit building is free. All the materials except for the screws and the rabbit cages and rabbits and stuff. But the building itself, all the materials was free. All the metal, all the posts, all, the plywood for the doors, everything was free. I just picked it up off the side of the road, and then a bunch of the materials I got off a job site that they were doing a CVS remodel, and the guys gave me a whole bunch of metal studs when they were finished with the remodel. They just gave them to me. I asked them if they had any dimensional lumber, because that was when lumber was super high. But they didn't have that, but they asked if I wanted any metal studs, which of course I said yes. And most of them were 12-footers. There was a whole pile of them, and I scored on that deal. And then these white metal pieces that you see that are kind of rusty, those I got last year for free. I had to go drive out to get them. But I did have them on the roof of that little storage building of mine for a while. And then I took those off and put new tin up there because I had stuff coming in from El Paso when we moved here, and I didn't want it leaking on any of it. So I put new metal up there, and I restacked up all these little white panels. They're like 43 by 48 inches, okay? So, and there was a whole pile of them that I got for free, and they're real heavy gauge too, by the way. But anyway, enough about that. Let me show you the building, okay? Now, I know that there's a lot of studs up there, but I didn't have any 1x4s to go across to support the tin. So I had to put extra studs in the ceiling to support the tin so it didn't sag. You see how it's kind of sagging down in there in between these two right here? Well, it was worse, so I had to add extra metal studs in order to keep that from happening so the water wouldn't leak back in. And then, of course, I put this cross piece up here, this support, because it's 12 foot. Let me go a little slower so I don't make you dizzy. It's 12 foot from there to there. Okay, and then this was the original rabbit hutch that I had built, and I just added on to it. Okay, and then I took all the cages out that I had right here, and I've made this into like a little feed storage area, and then that's the cleaning area. And then, if you notice all those white panels on the under part, that's for ease of cleaning. Because it was really hard to clean around those 2x4s down there. And the rabbit poop was going to make them rot really bad, fast. So, I had to do something about that anyway. So when I redid it, I just made sure that it didn't, the rabbits aren't going to poop over there anymore. But it makes it really easy to get to the poop. I got the rabbits attached in the back to the metal studs and stuff with plumber's tape and sheet metal screws. And then on the front, I have it tied up with these ropes so that the fronts don't sag. And they're pretty solid. Actually, they're not real rattly. I mean, look, maybe a touch, but not bad at all. So, but I've got 7 does and 3 bucks. I picked up this New Zealand red. He's a young buck. And his new girlfriend's going to be that one, that New Zealand there. Now, she's new. I traded for this one, but I don't know if she's going to end up being a good mama. Hell, she looks dead laying there, but she's just asleep. And then I've got this one that I've raised up from a baby. And then that female over there that's young that I raised up from a baby. And she's the full sister to this buck right here. Now, he's a replacement buck. He's only related to one of these rabbits. The rest of them he is unrelated to. 2 of these rabbits, excuse me. But he can't breed the male, so it doesn't make any difference. And then over here, this is my original buck. He's such a sweetheart. He is very sweet. But I had to get him a big old heavy crock for his water because he would like play with his bowl. So, and then this girl right here, she's not very sociable, but She's a good girl. This is the best mama of all of them right here. She's the only one that had babies survive that big ice storm last year. She was the only one that took care of her babies enough to make them survive. I mean, I lost all the other litters. They all froze to death, except for hers. And then this is her son. She was bred to the buck that was behind me. And I sold all the babies but the 2 tan ones because I wanted to get a little color in my herd. Because I like the color. Not, you know, for any other reason than I like to have different colors. And it seemed like I had a bunch of black females, but it just worked out that way. So now I've got a black and white female, a white female, a tan female. And then I've got a red New Zealand buck and a black and white buck. And now a tan buck. Now, if that New Zealand red doesn't breed, he'll probably be the one to do it. And then I'll move that female over. And, well, I'll probably just get rid of her because I don't want her breeding her own sire or her own brother. So, but I've got them all marked. Like right here, this is his, buck 2. He didn't have a feeder yet. So, but all these, it's like I marked them all so that I can keep track on the paper who bred what, when, where, you know, so I know who's related to whom. Because, you know, you do forget. So, anyway, let me show you outside. Oh, the windows. These windows, they're glass windows. You know, they're not weatherproof because they weren't really windows. They were cabinet fronts at Bed Bath & Beyond that they were throwing away. But it's heavy glass, and it came inside of a frame. And I knew I needed windows for ventilation this summer. Because this buck here went heat sterile. I bred him to all the girls and nobody had babies. And he's really not old. Oops, I just spilled stuff. He's really not old enough to be too old to breed. Now I made this door. It's made out of a couple of... These right here is a different piece than right here. This was some shelves that somebody had thrown out on the side of the curb that they had built in their shop or garage or something. And so I grabbed them and I made a door out of this one. So, and then that door frame right here, that I found on the side of the road. There was no door in it, just a door frame with the hinges. But I was able to use the hinges and the door frame in here. Now the water comes off of here, and I know I've got to run the wrong way. But it fills up this rain barrel. Which, guys, you need rain barrels, okay? Because I went all spring and summer without having to haul water back here because of these rain barrels. Even though we got rain very rarely this year, and not very much, when we did get it, it was enough to fill these barrels up. And then there's the chicken coop. And yes, I'm still cleaning up around here. I've got a truckload, the bed of the truck's full right now. But, with stuff I just loaded. So it just takes a while. But the chickens are down there. I've only got 4 chickens left. There's only 3 hens and a rooster. I got to get some more girls. I'm not getting rid of the boy. He's not very old. Anyway, here's these windows from the outside. I need to get some clips for these windows. But they open up really nice. Okay. And they had a frame around them. And it was real heavy. These windows were heavy. It took all I could do to lift them up in there. I do have to get something to keep those shut. And then I'll have to get something to tie them open because of the wind this summer. And then I didn't have any corner trim, so I used scrap to make my own corner trim. Scrap off of all this metal. All this metal was free on the side of the road. Somebody had torn down a barn or replaced a barn or shed or whatever, and I got it all. There's very little of that left. I must have did something real close to the size that they tore down. But here it is on the back side. And no, the building's not completely level. It is close, but I had to pry it up to get it as level as it was. There was nobody here but me. But the windows are all hung level. Those I could do. And then we'll go to the back and ignore that trash pile. That belongs to Brandon. And here's the outside. I have an overhang on this side I don't have on the other side. So it just worked out that way. I planned it poorly, or I would have had an overhang on the other side. I wasn't thinking when I was putting it all together, but it is what it is. And then here's another rain barrel. Now what I've done is take an old window screen, and I cut the frame out, and I just put this metal ring back around so that any water can go in, but it'll keep any mosquitoes out, and it keeps leaves and stuff out. The only thing it's not going to keep out is like dirt and dust. And then there's the drain thing, so I can use it. I can actually hook a hose to the bottom of it and run it down there and water the garden, or run the hose down to the rabbits, or anything like that. But this thing here, and let's go over the costs of it. Less than $200 for the gas, all the screws, everything. Okay, and that includes the original building. Less than $200 for all of it. All I had to do was get the materials gathered up, and it took me a while to gather it all up. I didn't get it all in 1 day or 2 days. It took me several months. And then when I finally got enough materials to do it, I built it. This part of the building is 12 by 14. And then this part is 14 by, I'm guessing 4, not counting the overhang on the roof. But that adds another couple of feet. So 6 by 14 if you count the roof line. So anyway, it was free, guys, except for the screws, the gas to go get the stuff. You see how dirty those 2x4s are? All of them were that way. I had to get the rabbits away from the wood because the feces and the urine was just going to make them rot. And they still may. But at least now, there is nothing for it to rot. Because all the uprights, these posts right here, 2 different times I saw one of those gazebos on the side of the road that got destroyed by the wind. But the posts were okay. So I ended up getting 4 posts. I did use a wooden post over there because I needed one that was tall. And I have one taller metal one, but I thought I was going to put one in the middle here. So I saved it in case I had to put rabbits next to it so that it wouldn't rot it. That's got the metal protecting the bottom, so I know that none of the urine or anything can get in there to rot that 4x4. Actually, it's more like a 3x3. It's not even a full 4x4. So, but this is the only thing I have left to finish. That's above the door. I'm going to put a little shed roof over the top of the door to try to keep weather, snow, and rain off of the actual door, since it's not a regular door and it's not really waterproof. It's painted, but I just figured, and if we have to, if we get snow and stuff, it might keep the snow from building up on top of the door and then coming down on your head when you open the door and stuff like that. So, and then I had this shelf. This was sitting on the side of the road, and it's got a couple of hailstone holes in it because Norman had this huge hailstorm, and I mean busting windows out of cars, bad. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cars. Windows on buildings got all busted out. These hailstones were massive. But they had gotten a few holes in this particular one. Maybe it was sitting near a window, and when the hail killed the window, a couple of them came in and made holes in the shelf. But the shelf itself isn't too bad. But it was sitting on the side of the road. They were going to throw it away, so I took it. And use it to organize these buckets, these Tidy Cats buckets. If you notice, I use those for... well, she made a mess of hers and got it cocked up. But I use it for nesting boxes. Okay, it works out really good. I don't have to build them. It fits through the door, and it's big enough for the babies. So, and that's all that really counts. But none of these posts are set in concrete, but I've got these driven down on all these posts. Some of them have 2 of them driven down past the wing that's on the bottom like a T-post, and then screwed to the post so it anchors it. And of course the weight of the building. That doesn't mean that it's the perfect installation, but it'll work. And then that over there is a piece of plexiglass that came from Bed Bath & Beyond when I got those windows. I ended up with 2 of those. They were actually like cubicle dividers. They're super thick. They're like a 1/4 of an inch thick. Same with the glass on those windows. They're super thick. It's almost a 1/4 of an inch thick glass. It was meant to be super heavy duty, but that's okay. We can use heavy duty. So anyway, I thought I'd let you know what I was doing. I haven't posted a video in a while, and it's because I've been busy. I do need to buy a couple more of these nicer cages. They're 30 by 36 inch cages. And yes, I could get smaller cages. But the way I look at it is these rabbits got to live in these for their entire lives, right? So why not have the biggest cage I can get over there at Tractor Supply so that they have a little bit of room, okay? And then when you get babies, by God, if you get 7 or 8 babies in there with her, even though they're not huge, it takes up the room in a hurry. So they needed the extra room. So all my rabbits are getting 30 by 36 inch cages. Except for him, because I ran out. So he's got like a, maybe 24 by 36. It's a 3 foot long cage, but it's probably just 2 foot wide. So, but, you know, he's not fully grown, and I still got to get more cages. And I'll just replace that when the time comes. This cage over there, I need to replace this cage too. Because this door is what I had to fix when that Rottweiler killed most of my rabbits. This door was tore up. So I took this door off of a dog cage and then just kind of rigged it to be in front of the rabbit cage to keep the rabbits in. And it works, but it's not that great. So I'm going to get a new cage. And then this one will end up being just an extra. So. Alright guys, this is my rabbit building. Like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, and y'all come back to see me.